We go to the Insider Hotline with Craig Tavish.
Mac T, what up?
There he is. Jamie McLennan joins us. Hello, Noodles.
No helmet. Mac T. It's
no lid.
My old teammate.
Yeah.
Only guy I played against that didn't wear a helmet. And I remember being in a corner checking him in St. Louis. You were probably on the bench.
I probably was. I mean, the weirdest thing about it is I saw him get hit head first into the boards and folded like just a tent and just got up like nothing. Like it was crazy. Like he was. Now, if you're Rhett, you could speak to us. If you're playing against a guy with no bucket, you're probably going to be more mindful of your stick.
I was extremely mindful. I was like, this is awkward. I got
about my stick. Watch my stick.
He's not wearing a helmet.
Yeah, he's not wearing a helmet. I remember forgetting my helmet for my mask for practice one time in the minors for Jimmy Roberts, the gritty old coach. And we were off-site practicing at some place called Lakeshore in Worcester, Massachusetts. And I forgot my mask, and our trainer, JC, was bringing it over. He started practice, and he said, get in the net. And he just yelled to the group, keep it down on this end. So I was standing in the net making saves. The guys were shooting from the blue line, the long stretch plays. And next, we had a French guy named Marquis Mathieu who wasn't paying attention, came down the wall, took a slap shot about, hip height, a little higher. And I was like so terrified making saves. And then they delivered my mask and he skated over it. He goes, it's like a soldier going to war without a helmet. And I said, yeah, fair enough. Yeah. And then we had another guy named Freddie Knipscher Freddie Knipscher forgot his skates. He made Freddie and runners run the whole practice.
Jeez.
So we were doing 3-line breakouts. There's Freddie, the centerman, running
on the ice. I thought you meant he was running the stairs. They put him on the ice and runners.
See, this is the fun stuff you're talking about us doing.
He ran the whole practice. The whole practice, 40
ball
on the ice. Freddie Knipscher would run like that was team building. Jimmy's like, you don't want to have your skates. He's like, you're running on the ice. So he would be running down the wall, get a pass, shoot on the net. Everyone would wait for him to get in line. Then we would keep going. It was unbelievable.
It's like a scene out of Slapshot.
Golden era of the game. Yeah.
What's going on today?
How are your Oilers?
My Oilers.
You're a big Oiler
guy. They're fine.
They're not fine as shit.
What are you talking
we'd love
about?
To pile on here.
I don't pile on any team.
Okay, so Noodles, let's take the rational. Okay, you have 2 superstars in their prime. The guy that had a chance to leave just gave you the hometown discount.
Full big picture,
and you're bottom 8 in the NHL by points percentage a quarter of the way through the year. Everything's fine. Your goalies still suck. You haven't addressed it. Your D look old. Your young scoring wingers are doing nothing.
Bouchard and Wallman's 28. Bouchard's 24.
How's Ekholm look? 1,000?
So the one guy's old.
Ekholm was actually the best player. He was their best D last night. But they're not motivated. I think it's funny. Like I'm in Toronto and everyone's like, "Well, what's wrong with the Oilers?" I'm like, "Man, you should probably look at your own team."
Yeah.
I think they're fine. They're tired. They don't look motivated at all.
They can't be motivated. I'm
going to take a quote out of Brad Treliving's press conference this morning. He said, "Listen, this is on me. When the team plays up to its potential." And then it's still no good, then you take a look at it. That team, like you just talked about the Oilers, they're playing at 20%. Let's see when Hyman's at 100%, they get RNH back, they get Kapanen, they start to play better. I still think they need a new goaltender.
Can I bring up a concern I would have with that? Because I don't disagree with you. I think they're probably better than they are showing. The issue becomes, how far do you fall? Like they're not motivated because they lost in the finals twice, and it's been one hell of that's hard to overcome. And you have a short off season, and it's hard to get up for games in November. But if you're far enough back, it's not a light switch. Yeah. You don't get to walk in on January 1st and go, okay, we're going to win 20 in a row.
Okay, but let me ask
especially with their goaltender.
There's a stat. Who's had the toughest schedule in the league this year so far?
That seems very. I don't know.
Toughest based on what? Last year's standings?
No,
or the
I don't
standings
look
today?
at that.
No, I'm just saying, you look at, this is a team that's gone east twice, just like your Calgary Flames, which I'm pissed off about. They're playing in Chicago, then Buffalo. Who
Rest
the hell
is
makes
normal.
these schedule? It's
Like
insane.
another back-to-back.
No,
later in
you
the
got to think about.
It's insane. It's
gotta
insane to go.
It's an hour flight, and you
And
don't want to
lose an
spend
hour.
any. You don't want to spend any more time in Buffalo than you have to. What are you going to do in Buffalo for a day? Just get in, get the hell out of there.
No, you go and visit the lovely people of Buffalo. There's good people there. You know it. My point being is that I try and step back and remove emotion and go, yes, like when you're talking Edmonton, they're no good. They haven't been playing very good, but that's a better team than they're showing. I look at strength of schedule. I look at, injuries, all of the types of things. Like here in Toronto, like that team, I don't even know what that team looks like because they haven't had a full team in a long time. But they're better than they show. But how much better? Because their D are old and slow. That's what concerns me. They don't have a puck-moving guy. Their goaltending is good when both of them are there. When one or the other is there, it's not as good because they're not clear starters. We all know the problem in Edmonton, or at least one of them, is I think they need a new goaltender. I do. I think even if it's a lateral move, I think they're going to do it at some point. There's only 3 goalies I could identify that would be a lateral or upgrade right now off teams that would probably part with their goaltenders.
Who?
Binnington from St. Louis. That's an upgrade. That guy's a winner, and he's a starter, and he's a clean butterfly. Like he's good.
He's a good goalie. We get yeah.
UC Saros from Nashville, who is an elite starter on a junk team. And yes, his numbers have struggled, but you are
He's
what
an upgrade. Yep.
you are what you. The third one is more of a lateral move, Elvis Merzlikins. And again, bad team, and Jet Greaves is pushing him out. But Merzlikins has good feet, good butterfly. He's a little bit of a strange goaltender. But he's a clear cut starter. He's a guy. So
I can see the Merzlikins one happening. I'm trying to put myself in the headspace of Doug Armstrong or Barry Trotz and saying, yeah, we're going to move away from this guy that kind of has been the face of the franchise for both of them for the last 5 to 10 years.
Well, Doug Armstrong, my understanding, again, from insiders, that's not from me. I'm not an insider. I'm not a reporter. Hasn't it been reported that Doug Armstrong said that every player is available on his roster?
He said that twice in the last 3 years, but yeah.
But still, I mean, it's.
I just don't think he's moved Binnington. But I mean, maybe he does.
Of course, he'd move Binnington.
He's the GM of Team Canada. That's his starting goalie at the Olympics, and St. Louis ain't that far out of it. I mean,
he's got 1 year left at 6.
Isn't St. Louis just above Calgary?
They're right by Edmonton.
Well, how many points?
It's tight.
Let's say
we'll pull up the
4.
standings.
Edmonton's got 22, and I think
and they played more than everyone else too. Pull up the bottom 10, Jack, because they're both in the bottom 8 with the Calgary Flames. And this is where I'm like, maybe everything isn't okay with the Oilers. Like, yes, we know they're better than this, but like they have 4 regulation wins in 21 games. 4. That's awful. That's worse than the league.
Over 500, and they've had the worst schedule in the league by far because they've had to go east twice. Nobody's had a 7-game road trip. Has anybody? Yet LA maybe. LA has to.
Yeah, and I'm not here to say the Oilers are bad. They're going to miss the playoffs. I'm just looking at contenders like Dallas and Colorado and New Jersey and saying the Oilers are nowhere near those teams right now.
Why do you say Dallas is a contender?
Because they've made it to the Western Conference Final 2 years in a row, and they're younger and have players heading into their prime and a better goaltender than Edmonton.
I'm trying to remember who beat them. Just trying to remember.
No, that was last year with a team where they didn't replace the guys that left this summer. Like you're gonna have a really tough time telling me.
You're very concerned about
Corey Perry's got 8 goals, 7 goals. Like they're not missing him. They're not missing Evander Kane who'd push a guy around if he hit McDavid. And how's Ike Howard looking for you in the A?
Evander Kane did not play very well for them last year, and you know that.
Well, he missed the regular season, but he was a helpful part because he's got some muscle. Like Trent Frederick has 1 goal in like 20 games, and he's got an 8-year deal and can't even fight. He's useless.
2 guys that haven't played well for them that is glaring for me, Frederick and Henrique. Henrique is another guy who looks his age. Everybody else is fine. Like, I'm not worried about them. Mangiapane's been good. Roslovic.
He's minus 15 playing with one of the superstars. That's atrocious.
You know what it is? They're not playing well. Like they're not playing well defensively. Like like I just breathe. I don't get worked up about this stuff. I know
Some do.
I can tell you, our friends in Edmonton are a little concerned about Mangiapane because he's got 4, but they're all tapping.
Year after year. And then what happens? All the people go, oh, yeah, that team woke up and got playing. Like, it's every year, it's the same conversation. Oh, what's wrong with the Oilers? What's wrong with the Oilers?
So they're going to finish where in the West?
They probably finished third.
In the conference?
They did last year. Third in
the division.
Conference. Yeah. In the division. Sorry, in the division.
Okay.
Yeah. Guess who did that last year, too? Florida. Not a problem.
Yeah.
Are you worried about Florida?
No, because they're doing it without their 2 best
I'm very
players.
worried about Florida, to be honest with you. I think Barkov being out.
The goalie gave up 5 goals last night on 13 shots.
I don't care what it is. Every team runs out of gas. There's only so much that is in the tanks. 3 years in a row, finals. Like these guys, that's
I'm more worried about their health. Like.
Yeah. But that's part of it, right? Their health you get beat up when you play that much hockey. We had a whole nother season. They've played 4 seasons.
5 regulars missing. Like that's and they're gonna. I think they're a playoff team. I think they'll be fine because they're good players.
Savvy.
They missed a bunch of guys last year too. That's why they were a 3-seed. Noodles. Come on, like they missed Kachuk. They missed Kachuk for 3 months last year. He came back for the playoffs. Like,
and
the Panthers are doing it without their best 2 players. The Oilers are in a worse spot with their best 2 players. Like if you're going apples to apples,
you just stop.
They're actually not in a worse spot than they were last year at this time, were they?
It's comparable. I mean, they had turned the corner by now last year, but it was a bad October. Yes.
Yeah, let's talk 20 games from now when they haven't played only 8 home games. They have a balanced schedule, when they've got health, when they've got and I still think too, one other thing is they're a lot like Toronto. They're a work in progress. Like, I don't think that's their finished product.
I agree.
I don't want to talk about the.
And here's the other thing. Yeah, I came on to talk about my Flames. What's going on?
I know it's it's my fault. It's my fault.
I know Jack doesn't allow me to, but I'm very proud.
Look
of
at that.
Who's that good looking?
Yeah, look at that guy.
That is good feet right there. You want quick look at the feet.
Look at that. Jack, hey, careful. I'll cover that up with a sheet next time. Right?
That's right.
Did that guy almost get a Jennings trophy? Is that correct?
No, there's what is this? There's what's Jennings? The top goals.
The team. Team GAA.
Jennings, but my name's not on it.
That's the thing.
Yeah,
almost
25 games. If they knocked it down to 19, I would have done it.
Mika's so selfish.
You have the trophy and your name's not on it?
It was actually Roman Turek in St. Louis.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just take it in and engrave it. I can bring it to my house.
It's a team award for goals against.
We'll put your name.
Yeah, you should do that.
I should.
Who's going to reach down and give them a squeeze and make a trade? There's got to be a GM out there that's finally going to just say, you know what? I've seen enough.
I got one for you.
All right.
Montreal.
Ooh,
I like that.
They hit the skids.
They lost their 4th in a row last night. They got absolutely pumped on a 3-game homestand.
And to me, I think if you're Kent Hughes, now listen, they lost in a shootout, so that's and they were down 3-1 late in that game. I was watching that game quite intently. They do miss the 4 players. Goalie, I love as a defenseman, but he's had a tough time staying healthy.
Yeah.
Laine, what is Patrick Laine to you guys?
Didn't know he was playing.
Aloof.
Very, but like when he's in there, scores in that one area.
Isn't that the same area where Caulfield scores too, though?
Yes. So you're right. It's a great point, Boomer.
He's a salary dump at the deadline.
Newhook I like. I really like Newhook's speed, and I think he's a smart player. And Kirby Dach had really kind of come on recently, but that guy can't stay healthy.
No.
But if you look at it, if I'm Montreal, regardless, even if Kirby Dach or Alex Newhook were healthy, I was still looking for center ice help.
Yep.
So, if I'm Montreal, I'm calling Doug Armstrong and seeing, what is Shen? What's it cost for Shen? I'm calling Barry Trotz going, what does Ryan O'Reilly cost? I'm calling Craig Conroy, and going, What is Nazem Kadri in play? That type of stuff. Those are the three that I'm looking at just off the top of my head.
Yeah, they need a 2C bad. And to your point, even if Doc's healthy, like he's overslotted as a 2. Same with
Exactly. So then Doc can go to your 3, and you can push Newhook to the wing if you have to, because he's a really fast player. But that's the team I'm circling. I think Toronto's trying to do something, but it's for the sake of doing something as well. You got to get better, but almost just to shake the team up. I think Edmonton's probably, but I think what they're looking at is kicking tires on the goaltending market.
Do Edmonton and Toronto have the assets to make something happen, though?
Well,
Oilers get their picks. Yeah,
but the Oilers have a couple young assets. That's the thing. Like you could probably roll Howard into something.
And they're first the next 2 years.
Yeah,
so
like
that's what Toronto doesn't have.
They've got the picks and some young players, where the Leafs have Easton Cowan, Ben Danford, and their first rounder in 2028. Those are their 3, picks, or 3 something that teams will be looking at. Other teams have a lot more. That's why I brought up the Montreal Canadiens. They've got currency, man.
Yeah, that's
currency. You
Tough
could be
system.
looking at, what's the right shot defensive?
Reinbacher.
Reinbacher. He's got hurt a lot, but he looks like he's a player if he could stabilize and get his body in order. They've got some other young players in Laval. They got picks. They got cap space. They got all sorts of things that they can be creative with.
Yeah,
So
that Michael Hage, the centerman, is going to be
Yes.
something everyone's going to want him for if you're going to give him
even
a center.
the Jack Guy's brother there, Florian, he seems like a nice player. Like, I don't know what his ceiling is at the NHL. I've watched him live a few times, but that's the thing. So I could, again, where I don't know how you guys feel, but I look at Connie, I look at Doug Armstrong, I look at Barry Trotz. Those are the 3 organizations that probably might be sellers sooner than later. I don't know.
Well, can I ask? I know what your answer is going to be, but I read an interesting article from our Flames Nation reporter,
Yes.
Bobby Germany, about the fact that Conroy doesn't have a contract. What's up with that? Is kind of the point he was making. What is up with that?
Coach got an extension.
The gist of the
contract. I mean, he would have been the first guy I signed. He's architect here, kind of a retool. I've liked his moves. He's been patient. He's been on top.
was handed a pile of muck.
I was going to say it's
7 UFAs.
I was kind of talking. This isn't really even his team yet.
No,
In many ways, this is still the remnants of Treliving's
this is the beginning
team.
of his team, and they're not doing
His
very well.
draft picks are just starting to come in. His trades now. Again, you can say what you want about Sharon Govich and whether that's worked or whatever, but I still think that we haven't had a chance to see what Conroy's team looks like.
Yeah, like I think of the Lindholm deal, and it's
Okay, let him
just
talk.
real
'cause
quick.
he's the guy.
Gridden and Brestevich are the 2 guys he got. Neither of them are here yet,
That's
and they're looking good.
Yeah, no, you're right. These are great points, because the moves that Connie have made, it was almost gun to his head too, right? To fold, like these type of deals, Lindholm, like you've got to figure out, does your player now he might have a gun to his head, I don't know, but with Rasmus Anderson, are you signing him? Or are you going to move him? Or what are you doing? Right? Like that type of stuff. But it's Connie's job to maximize what you get back and what you do with that currency. Go ahead, Rhett.
So if you are the owner looking and watching, and the owner, and I don't think nobody wants a Buffalo thing. And I don't think the Buffalo thing is record setting. So I don't think that a reset has to be Buffalo. But he clearly is never and doesn't want that sort of thing. If you're Mr. Ed, what is your analysis of what Conroy has done? Has he gotten enough in the trades? Is he right? Like whether or not the team sucks this year, they're not doing well. And Mr. Edwards, the owner, might want the team to do better, but that's almost irrelevant. Probably when you're watching Conroy or when you're in that position, you're looking down going, okay, have the trades turned out? Are the players coming? Do I see a progression here? Is that how would you evaluate what he's done?
Well, what I've evaluated is a lot what Pinder was saying. Like, what have you gotten back? What are you doing with your draft picks? How are you developing these players? And, I always try to step back and go, what's your immediate plan, your 1-year plan, your 3-year plan, your 5-year plan? What do you see? Who do you see involved? Like, that's the crazy part. You could look at, again, we always talk about the whiteboard. You could lay a lot of players on that whiteboard. I could ask the four of us, how many players from the current roster do you think 5 years from now would be on your whiteboard? Like,
4.
Yeah, it's not
like 3 or 4, right?
Zary, Coronado, Wolf, and maybe Ball. Yeah.
Right. So
Sadly.
Ball should be, but he ain't playing.
Huberdeau too, but yeah. I mean,
but what I'm saying is, and those are players that, Connie has either acquired and signed long-term. Like it's not like he has signed a bunch of guys and is stuck with all these contracts. He's working on flexibility, and flexibility is
An asset.
It's an asset in today's world. Cap flexibility and having the ability to move players in and out. So you look at it, how do you achieve it? Like, you're getting a new building soon. You want to be competitive with that new building. You're selling tickets, you get people fired up. There might be some short-term pain. I don't believe the Calgary Flames are just going to open a door and wave a white flag and go, hey, we're rebuilding and don't even bother showing up. They've got to sell tickets. They still have a product on ice. And keep in mind, I've talked about this, I feel like, weekly with you guys. When I'm in that room, I'm trying to win every night. Rhett, you've been in that room, where I was in that room in 2001 when we were trying to win and we weren't very good. But like, the players are trying to win. The manager's trying to build a winner. The fan base is allowed to judge whatever they can and, whatever they want to do, and same with the media. But I look at it, I think Connie, if you ask me, and that's a long version, but I think he's done a very good job with what he's been handed. And it's still, to Boomer's point, a work in progress. So I want to give him the bandwidth. I'm shocked. You told me that. I'm shocked he doesn't have a deal. I'm actually forgot he didn't have a deal, because in my mind I assumed he signed when Huska extended as well, but I forgot that he didn't.
And look, if this was an organization that went out and hired established top of the market GMs, maybe you could build a case. But every time they go shopping for a GM, it's someone that's way out of the loop retread, or somebody's first time where they make mistakes. I would be absolutely furious if Connie doesn't get an extension, because they haven't paid for GMs.
Yeah, but I think he's done a good job too.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah.
If you sat there and go, my God, like, we've got a disaster on our hands. And again, I'm not here to fire bullets, but Kevin Adams, I don't know in Buffalo if he's done a good job or if he inherited a mess, or it's a combination of both, or if the owner got involved.
He's been there long enough that his decisions are his decisions.
With saying it without saying it. Like, that's where it's like, if they decided to move on, you go, oh, I get it. 14 years, no playoffs. Traded away players that went on to win cups and do all these things that could have been in your wheelhouse.
Yep.
That's not the case here with Connie. The one thing that I've really been impressed with Connie is he's built like a culture and a program there. And guys, you don't see a lot of guys throwing their hands up and going, I got to get out of here. There's contract status. I get that situation, but it's not like,
for conversation's sake, can I just interrupt you? Is there another side to it, though? Because let's not kid ourselves. We're very biased. We love Connie and we want him back. And I do believe in what he's doing.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, Rasmus Anderson, do you think you could have got, I mean, we don't know what we're going to get for him, but is that you allowed him to come back? He's not signed, and you could have traded him last year. We're assuming for more than you'll be able to trade him for this year.
right.
We were expecting a huge ransom for all these guys. Have they been as good as what you like? Have the returns been as good as, or do we have a bias?
Well, okay. So the only thing you could go back to, and you just jogged something in my
Kevin
memory.
Ball, 5.5. Is that good? Because he ain't playing worth 5.5 right now.
Well, that comes back to Markstrom. When did you trade him? Did you trade him at the right time, or did you trade him when you could? Or keep in mind, the player controls a lot of this.
He kiboshed it earlier. So
right.
And you got Reshny in that deal too. Don't forget that. That's the first round.
I'm just, all of it.
See, this is why I need Pinder, because he's like the voice of.
You can have him.
They hate it, but I do know who was traded for who. That's right.
Right. So this is why I need him to go, oh, by the way, that's not a complete trade because of this X, Y, and Z.
The tricky thing is you never know.
You need 5 years. That's the problem.
You don't know what the players are going to be, and you don't know what deals were made. Like, we're led to believe there was a great deal with the LA Kings for Rasmus Anderson, but Anderson wasn't going to sign an extension. So, okay, that doesn't happen. We don't know what the offers were for Anderson last year at the deadline. We don't know what the offers were for Markstrom. We can judge the deals that were made.
Right.
But you never, well, what an idiot. You could have had way more. You could have,
But Edwards would
We
know
don't know
what
that.
was available.
Yeah.
Theoretically, yeah.
He
It
would.
didn't sound like they shopped Rasmus last year. There was too worried
They were
about
too close to
this
making
group
it.
has earned the right to do it. And you're like, okay, so that is the feel good human element of not doing the trade. You always say you have to be a psychopath to be a GM.
Yes,
Like
you
the
do.
absolute asset management piece, it was a fail because you're not talking about an extension at the deadline last year. You're not allowed to sign one. It was a non-issue. So you would have, and you watched the Leafs go to Calgary, try to get Anderson, can't do it, and then give a top prospect and a first for Brandon Carlo, who I think at the time was an inferior player. Like I think there was a haul for him.
Yeah. No, you're right. The word is sociopath. Psychopath
one.
is for goaltenders.
Sorry. Yeah.
Sociopath.
Wrong path.
Helmetless
Yeah,
goal.
wrong path.
But you're right. Like that's the you get what you get, what the marketplace says at that time. Connie's getting paid a lot of money to figure out what is the sweet spot for player X. Okay. Now, the only thing we don't know, and we never will know, is what is the messaging from above? Is Murray saying, like you said, Pinder, keep the band together. They've earned the right. Okay. So maybe Connie had something in the offseason from a manager going, hey, I'll give you a king's ransom for player X. Well, he's not available because the directive from above is this. So, it comes back to what Boomer's saying. It's like, we will never know, if he could have got more from Markstrom because we don't know when Connie pulled the deal, it was the right time to pull the deal. So that's what the maximum he could do. Markstrom want to go to New Jersey. New Jersey was willing to give this X, Y, and Z, and that's it. So that's the deal you get. With Anderson, it seems like there might be a few pressure points. It might be right now.
Yeah.
With teams that are struggling going, I need this guy sooner than later. Mm-hmm. It might be, again, as I brought up Connie's name with Doug Armstrong's name and Barry Trotz's name, it might be, Kent Hughes is calling right. I need help right now because my team needs help right now. What are you willing to, if this player is willing to go, here's what I'm willing to give you. But, Connie, I've said it all along, Connie has and Doug Armstrong and Barry Trotz have the luxury of time to try and build the market for their players. Because if they believe that their season is not what it's going to be, then you're open for business and you maximize what you get coming back. And that comes back to, has Connie done a good enough job with the draft picks and putting a stamp on this team? I say yes, and that's why I'm shocked he doesn't have a deal.
I'm surprised too. I think that's the general consensus that it's a little confusing.
It has been kind of how the team has done business, though. There's been a lot, whether it's
consistent.
staff, coaches, management, where guys go into the last year of their deal without extensions and they play them out. And then I just remember Ken King would always talk, we're going to have a full evaluation at the season's end. Everyone's being paid. Everyone has a contract. No one's
you're
here.
making me mad.
It's like, okay.
Well, I mean, that is all true, but there's a way to treat people in a first-class organization, and leaving families swinging in the wind with 1 month left on their contract. You can treat people better than that if you know they're good at what they do.
Agreed, especially if you believe that person or player is staying.
Right.
Like, that's the other thing. It's like, I will say, for all of Daryl's warts, Daryl was a guy when he was a manager was like, I want you in my organization. Let's figure out how to make it work. That's it. Like there was no messing around, no mind games. It was like, we got to figure out a price point. Daryl was great to me. I remember he was going to sign me back and we had negotiated a price and he said, hold on a couple weeks. He goes, I might be able to get you 25 extra grand. Like I've never had a manager do that.
Yeah.
It was like, I can't remember what I made.
Murray's furious right now.
Maybe I shouldn't have said that.
25 grand.
But if he had a budget to work with, meaning he might have been able to move some money around and got somebody a little cheaper and found. So Murray wouldn't be mad at that. If Daryl hit a budget, it's more about how he allocated the money. So my point being is like, I don't know, comes back to what you're saying, Pinder, like how you treat people. Here's the other thing. Craig Conroy, if he doesn't have a contract next year, there'll be other teams looking at him. Like he's,
Buffalo.
Exactly. Like there's other teams that the manager position might come up and go, I like that guy. He's a forward-thinking guy. I like what he's done with what's happening.
He's in the New York Hockey Hall of Fame.
I've
seen his picture on the wall.
So, natural fit there.
The thing that he's done best that he doesn't get credit for in just the big market, because it's way too zoomed in, is the last 2 draft classes have been exceptional that he's had. And I know it's early and these kids haven't arrived, and it doesn't mean they're all going to make it. But when you talk to the scouting community and you talk to the analytics nerds, these guys are all way ahead of their brethren in those same rounds. Yeah. Like that's the hardest thing to get credit for, because Murray can be like, yeah, I haven't seen any on the roster.
I think the other thing too, and not to jump on you, but the other thing he's done too, and I know we kind of worried about it just as observers, but when you come in as a GM, I think sometimes the easy thing is, we're just going to sign him. He didn't sign Elias Lindholm. He didn't sign Noah Hannafin. Like he didn't take the easy route because there was a lot of business for him to make, and he did not have the hammer in any of those deals. Really, it was him he had all these UFAs and all of this. I think he's done a good job in terms, and July 1st has been a non-issue. He signed Matt the last year, no bad whatever, yeah. no harm, no foul. Did nothing this year. Yeah, the trade he made last year for Frost and Farabee, it hasn't been a home run, but that was an easy deal to make. You got a young center, you got some young guys, you had cap space. Kuzmenko was what he was.
Wasn't a home run for Philly either, right? Yeah, Kuzmenko didn't pop till he got to LA.
Yeah, so I don't know. I just think this trade, well, can we eat some money? We don't know if they can eat money, because that was the thing with the Markstrom deal. It felt like if the team was going to eat some money, some salary, and they ended up doing it. But like you say, it's so hard to know on the surface.
Yeah, but
how to judge it.
I'm shocked he doesn't have a deal. I'm
yeah, no, for sure, yeah.
But maybe it is been worked on behind the scenes. We don't know.
Might be a non-issue.
Yeah, it might be just it's sitting on his desk and he hasn't gotten around to it. I don't know, but I look at it. It's funny because I think I'm excited about the Flames' future. I know there's pain, but I look at it and I go, there's real opportunity. And Pinder, you talked about infusing young players into the lineup, allowing guys to kind of grow within their own. Getting, if you get a trade, for example, if let's just say that you trade Rasmus and you get a live roster player and a high pick and a prospect, that type of stuff. Maybe that live roster player, let's see what he's got, and he needs an opportunity to grow.
You're a great bank for other teams. You have enough players that can contribute on really good hockey teams where they should be wanting your guys. You should be able to have a massive bank account.
And the thing too is, like, Connie's built a culture where, Calgary is still a destination where it's not a lot. Like, I feel like it's not on a lot of no-fly zones for other players. Like, I still feel like, there's teams where you're like, for example, I love Kevin Cheveldayoff. I played with Chevy. I love him to death. We were talking about, I was in Winnipeg the other day. That guy has had to deal with so many different things. He plays in a market that's on a lot of no trade lists just because of Winnipeg and the temperature, all of that type of stuff.
Mosquitoes.
Well, mosquitoes are bad. I'll sit inside on that one. But there's just so many different factors he's had to battle. But you look at, he's drafted, he's developed, he's been able to keep a lot of the players that play there and love it there because they've found a home. That organization was in the crossroads a couple years ago when Scheifele and Hellebuck came up, because that could have, those players decided, check, please. All of a sudden, Kyle Connor's going, what am I doing here? And then, Ehlers leaves. I get it. But Morrissey's committed. I look at it. My point being is that Connie's building a culture there. And, it's not a place where people get to and they got to get out of. It's more about, can you be a part of the future and part of the ride? And he's got to figure out who he wants there long-term and who he's going to kind of move in and out along.
Losing sucks, but I think the environment that's built there between the coaches and Conroy, I don't think it's a miserable place. I think the guys like going to work. It just sucks that they're not.
And Husk is a great coach. Like he is. I know, Brett, you want him to, loosen the reins a little bit, have some smiles, have some fun. I get that. And I understand that. But I think you look at Husk, that team is never not prepared. And I'll come back to where we started on the original conversation. The one thing, if I had to criticize the Edmonton Oilers about outside of not giving a you-know-what, they look disorganized on the ice. That's the difference. Calgary never looks disorganized on the ice. The Oiler players look like they got on the ice. It's dog park defense.
I was going to say dog park, yeah.
There's the bone. Let's chase that around. Like that to me, when I come back to systematic play and when you don't have it that night, you fall back on like system's got to protect us. The goalie's got to help us. Like I see so many teams, and I know I just took a shot at Edmonton, but I look at a lot of teams. It's like, let's just go out and play, see what happens. I'm like, no, you don't. You're fighting for your life out there. Try and win 3-2, 2-1. Calgary has that. Like Huska's got those guys playing. They don't get blown out. They don't. They're in every game, and that's a tribute to that coaching staff.
Before we let you go, kind of a crazy story came up late last week. Unfortunate incident in Chicago involving the New Jersey Devils. And I mean, you played for a long time. I'm not sure, but was there ever in your career a time when maybe you're at a team dinner or a rookie dinner or something, and an unfortunate incident happens where
all I could think about
there's some, someone gets cut or there's, stitches.
All I could think about when this poor Jack Hughes, they said he slipped and fell on a cup. I'm like, did he do a table dive with no pants on?
He's got to go, Jack.
He's out of time. See you, Noodles.
We've been waiting for this all week. What are you talking about? We got lots of time. Noodles, he goes to LA tomorrow.
Luckily, there's a doctor in the pyramid.
I just remember the face looking up at me going, I think I'm cut, chum. I'm like, yeah, I remember, you're cut. It was like a Monty Python. It was blood shooting out of his hand and out of his thighs because you had only your underwear on. And there was almost an artery cut on your leg. And table dive that you literally, instead of going like this across the table, you just landed on it like that.
Belly flop
dive.
Table flop.
Gus Thorson just sprinting for the door.
Gus was so mad at you because he had just gotten his steak and lobster and Rhett's armpit was in it. It was unbelievable.
Well, didn't you say Iggy was the like?
I ruined everyone's meal. It was.
But didn't you get yours first?
Yes, I ate my steak and jumped on the table.
You made sure that you got yours.
Yes.
Could you just bring mine early?
And you hoovered it, and then made your wardrobe change.
It felt like an episode. Remember Fast Times at Ridgemont High when that car gets ruined and Spicoli goes, relax, my dad has an awesome set of tools. That's what the owner said. He's like, relax, I know this doctor. And the doctor showed up and was sewing him up in the kitchen. And my God, they might have had to burn that place to the ground.
They did burn it down. They set it on fire for insurance.
Oh,
they did.
Yeah, they did.
Allegedly.
What?
Allegedly.
Thank
Let's
you.
not have any
My
friends in
word.
tracksuits showing up at our house.
That's right.
So it's all good.
All right, Noodles, what's going on in LA?
Game in Anaheim. It's Thursday. So I fly to LA tomorrow, do a show, and then into Anaheim.
Talk to Coach Q.
I would love to talk to Coach Q. I can't wait. I texted with him when he got the job, and I want to see him face to face, give him a big hug, and say, congrats. So they got looks like they got a team there.
Yeah.
They scored with 4 seconds last night, and then in overtime, and it's all the kids making plays. Like Bennett Seneca from his butt making a play. Like it was incredible to watch, and they are so fun.
If you look at it, McKinnon, McDavid, and then it's like Celebrini, Carlson, like the kids Bedard, like they're coming. And it's not even they're coming. They've arrived.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a matter, can they sustain it? Like, have they turned the corner where it's like, this is what they're going to be every day? Or is it like, is the league, that first quarter of the league, it's still scrambly. And then you get to the second quarter of the league or, that middle part where things start to stabilize. And then down the stretch, things shrink. Like, will these kids be able to sustain it the whole time? Or will those teams be able to sustain it as well? Or will there be a market correction? That's what's really, interesting for me.
Safe trip. And I know you love the beach and going to relax. So got some beach time set up.
I packed a Crown Royal bag for my underwear. So
yeah.
I don't get the beach. I'll be in my room hanging out.
Breaking down penalty kills. Nerd.
Thanks, Noodler. Love you.
Bye, Noodler. Hey, buddies. Thanks for watching. We appreciate it. Also, if you could throw in a like and subscribe, it does help us out with what it is we are doing. And check out more at flamesnation.ca.